fear and excitement in El Salvador as Bitcoin becomes legal tender. The move means Bitcoin will be accepted everywhere for goods and services alongside the US dollar. El Salvador has become the first country to accept Bitcoin as legal tender in a move that has got the nation and the world debating the opportunities and dangers of cryptocurrency. By Joe T., Cyber Reporter. Shalom, all praises, glories, blessings, and honors to Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai Bahashim, Racha Kodash. Double honors to my apostles and elders of Great Millstone who have taught me this truth, as well as men of like mind. Shalom wa chasad, which means peace and mercy to the elect of the nation of Israel, whom are you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native American Indians, and Israelite foreigners of the sea line of our forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, whom are scattered here in America, which is Babylon the Great, and abroad. To you I say Shalom, and Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai Ratazah. This lesson is edifying. This is another example of gradualism. For gradualism is the policy of approaching a desired mean through gradual stages. Gradualism comes from the Latin gradus, which means to step, and ism means to practice. And so gradualism literally means to practice in steps. The conventional definition on Google here tells us that gradualism is a policy of gradual reform rather than sudden change or revolution. And from the wiki, from the Latin gradus, is a hypothesis, a theory, or a tenet, assuming that change comes about gradually, or that variation is gradual in nature and happens over time as opposed to in large steps. Uniform itineralism, incrementalism, and reformism are similar concepts. And this is gradualism. And this is just another example of gradualism, in that El Salvador has now accepted and will be using Bitcoin, a decentralized cryptocurrency, as a legal tender alongside the US dollar. And we understand that ultimately the elites of Esau Edom will crash the US dollar, thus paving the way for them to introduce and implement a digital global centralized form of currency or currencies that will be overseen by a central bank or central authority. Hence the reason why all these nations have been gradually moving towards the usage of CBDCs, which stands for centralized digital currencies in summary. Okay, I done a lesson on this yesterday, but I digress. This article reads, from today, businesses will be obligated, where possible, or obliged, where possible, to accept the controversial digital coin as payment. And I'd also mentioned that Bitcoin is a decentralized cryptocurrency. This means that it is not overseen by a central bank or central authority. All of its transactions are anonymous. Hence the reason why when the elites of Esau Edom crash the US dollar globally, it will give them even more reasons to introduce and implement a global form of digital currency or currencies. Though each country may have them named separately, for example, the Chinese yuan that China has used will nonetheless be subject to a single centralized global entity that will be overseen by the hegemony of Esau Edom. Or they can have it to where they have different branches of central banks that oversee each country's digital transactions that will then be linked to one super centralized entity that will be overseen by the hegemony of Esau Edom, because this is what they want for their God complex. This is what they want for their New World Order, which will ultimately allow them to cause all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead, because all roads are leading to that chip. Because within that chip is where people's information are going to be graphed, recorded, filled, kept. So all roads are leading to that chip, man. From today, businesses will be obliged, where possible, to accept the controversial digital coins as payment. Millions of people are expected to download the government's new digital wallet app, which gives away $30 in Bitcoin to every citizen. And they're also going to do away with decentralized cryptocurrencies, because their transactions are anonymous. They're not centralized like the Chinese yuan. Bitcoin fans around the world have been buying $30 worth of the digital coins as a show of support and to help boost the value of the volatile currency. Salvadorian taxi driver Daniel Hercules, who is 26, is excited by the move, but also worried about how stable his earnings will be. I've accepted Bitcoin for about 2 months since I knew this was coming. I just had someone pay me $40 in Bitcoin for a fare to the airport, but it's rare. Only about 10% of customers prefer to pay with Bitcoin. Daniel says the cost of converting Bitcoin into the local currency, the US dollar, is high at 10%. So he is using the money like a savings account. He hopes to grow his wallet to around 1,000 in Bitcoin, but is scared about the currency crashing. Why? Because the country is not, again, centralized, it's decentralized. It's not monitored by a central authority or figure or entity. It's like a free-for-all, basically. Anything can happen. It is one of the things that worries me the most. Losing money from long days of work would not be okay. Bitcoin has been known for its fluctuation. The value of Bitcoin has risen and fallen dramatically in the last year. It went from about 10,000 for a single coin in September 2020 to a high of 63,000 in April 2021, then fallen to 30,000 in July this year. The value of Bitcoin has risen in recent weeks to 51,000, which some analysts have linked to the El Salvador news. On Monday, a viral post on the 3 million strong Bitcoin page in Reddit says, "So, you all buying $30 worth of Bitcoin on Tuesday? Crypto uncertainty." However, a survey by the Central American University, UCA, found that only 4.8% of the 1,281 people who took part understood what Bitcoin was and how it was used. Because Jake don't know anything about these digital forms of currency and their differences. More than 68% of those questioned said they disagreed with using cryptocurrency as a legal tender. Jeanette Sandoval, 70, sells groceries for home delivery with her son. She says she will not be getting involved. I have always been open to change, but this time I do not agree. Our customers say they will not be paying in Bitcoin. In my country, there are many people who are illiterate and hardly have a cell phone. Not an intelligent one, but one of the old ones. I was going to say old times. They will not use it. At the moment, I am not going to download the application, but one day I will have to. Why? Because eventually everything will lead to the global mandating of that chip. And the only way people are going to be able to buy or sell is through having that chip in their right hand or in their foreheads. Because that chip, the information that will be in the chip, which is a person's medical or financial information, it will all be stored on a centralized blockchain. It says, at the moment, I am not going to download the application. Well, I just read that. But one day I will have to. I am not interested in those $30 that they will give away. I prefer, and I've always done, with the sweat of my shirt to earn my money. Now, the article is pretty much almost done, and the point was already read, therefore made. So now let's go to the scriptures, and we should all know this scripture. So I'm just going to go through it. The Lord's willing, it is edifying to the elect. Those that don't know, listen carefully, because this is a major prophecy, man. And we're gonna keep going over it, no matter how much, we sound like a broken record, as they would say. Because prophecy, it's all about prophecy, man. It's all about prophecy. It's all about wanting the elect, feeding the elect, and letting them know what's going on in the world, man. Because that's our job as the prophets, beginning with the apostles and elders and older brothers, on down to us younger men of the great millstone, as well as men of like mind that are scattered here in America, which is Babylon the Great, that teaches the same doctrine and truth and in sincerity, and abroad. This is Revelation chapter 13, verse 16, and he's referring to the hegemony of Esau, Edom, the wicked. Malachi chapter 1, verse 4, causeth all people on the earth except for the elect of the nation of Israel, who will be reserved from the hour of temptation, as it is written. Lord's willing, I am part of the elect, as well as you brothers and few sisters, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark, and that mark is the RFID microchip, also known as the NFC chip implant in Europe, also known as the biochip, which means the body chip, in their right hand or in their foreheads. And that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, and the beast is the pagan Roman Empire, which came back in the form of NATO and the EU, with America being an extension of that empire. That is the beast. To receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom, that him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 600 trees square and 666, which references to his UPC code, which is basically something that is globally used to track products. And this will then ultimately be transitioned over to a centralized blockchain, one that will be overseen by the central authorities of the hegemony of Esau, Edom, by the global elites, because they will be tracking all transactions, all buyings and sellings of those that receive that mark. And the message to you so-called Negros, Latinos, Native American Indians is to not take that chip. when they mandate it very soon. Because all roads are leading to that chip, man. Okay? And 666 in the Greek is Chi Xi stigma. X, Chi and Xi both means X mark. And as those of you that tune in to the lessons, I often make this reference. X marks the spot, as they say in the world. Look at certain medical movies, they would spray a little X or a circle with a dot in the middle on a person, and that would be known as the spot of puncture. Because when you go into the word mark, the Greek word is charagma, which means a stamp or imprinted mark. And then when you go into charagma, the root word is charax, and then grapho. What charax means, a pallicid or a stake, which is that syringe mechanism that they'll use to puncture the flesh of an individual to then insert that charagma, that mark, that stamp. The root word of charax is grapho, which means of the writings, filled with the writings. Because within the RFID microchip is where people's information are going to be filled, are going to be recorded, are going to be kept, such as their financial or their medical or their medical. And this is the judgment for those that take that chip. Revelation 14 verse 9, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image of the beast is a system of the beast. From his medical infrastructure, his financial infrastructure, his architectural infrastructure, his laws, his democracy, his military, everything that comprises this man's system is the image. And receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, which is poured out without mixture, meaning that they're going to feel the full potency of the wrath of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai through those thermonuclear missiles, the fire that will be coming from them, and also the concentrated rays of light that will be shot forth from the so-called UFOs, the chariots of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, which means righteous anger. And so the wrath of the Most High Yahweh through his son Yahushai is likened unto wine, which is poured out into a cup that is likened unto his indignation. And those that worship the beast in his image and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand are going to drink all the way down to the very dregs without mixture. For it is written that in the hands of Yahweh there is a cup, and the wine is red. Now reading on, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone from those ICBM nuclear missiles in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. Who is the Lamb? Yahushua HaMashiach, our Lord. And the smoke of their torment ascend up forever and ever, meaning for a period of time. And they have no rest day nor night, who worship the beast in his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name. Here is here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that kept the commandments of Yahweh and the faith of Yahushai. And so with that, I pray this lesson was edifying to the elect, Lord's willing. Until the next, I say Shalom. I will leave the link to the article in the description box of this lesson, Lord's willing.